welcome back to a Gaming Chums podcast. I'm your host for today's episode, Paul, Paulie C, Paulie D, Big Man
of
Paul.
many names.
I've go under many aliases. Yeah, Paulus, Pablo, Dr. Paulus, everything, mate. But with me is my ever reliable, wingman, sideman, dustman, trashman. The ever affable Mr. Rawls. Mr. Rawls, how the hell have you been, man? How you going, man?
I've got a shitty cold at the moment, so it might be able to pick that up in my voice and me sniffling constantly. It's not because I've been doing drugs, but I'm rubbing my nose. Just got a cold. I just can't catch a break at the moment. I had COVID, and then as soon as I I didn't even get over that, but as soon as I was negative of it, like a week later, I got my second booster, and then that kicked the shit out of me because for some reason I had 3 shots of Pfizer the first time, and apparently now they're topping you up with a half a shot of Moderna. Apparently Moderna kicked people's asses when they were getting it last year, and it kicked the shit out of me for a few days, and now I've got a cold on top of it, so I just can't get well properly at the moment.
Can't get apparently. That W. You can't get the W, mate.
Holding them L's.
Yeah, just
every day.
Every day, man.
But other than that, I'm fantastic.
Yeah, but like, what have you? Sorry, like to cut you off, but what have you been playing any game? What have you been playing, and what have you been watching? Because that's how we normally do this film, man. I just forgot to add that in.
Well, I mean, you were very polite in asking how I was first, so you know.
I wanted to know your health and mental well-being as well.
What have I been playing? I finished AI the Somnium Files a few days ago. I've had it on Switch for like 2 years, I think, and just never played it. I think I played like the first half hour of it, and I was like, this seems really cool. I think I'm going to like this. Now I'm going to put it back on the shelf and not touch it. And it launched on Game Pass like 6-7 months ago, I think. We did a quick look for it on the channel, and the sequel is out in June, I think, this year. So like 2 months from now, the sequel is out. So I thought, oh shit, I better get on this and play through it. So I played through it over the last couple of weeks. It's a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. I think it was like nearly 30 hours.
Okay.
It's very, very good. I absolutely loved it. And when I was finished with it, I felt like I was leaving behind dear friends. You know how that feels when you play a game and you really get into the characters, and it's like, I'm going to miss these non-existent people now. But yeah, I absolutely loved it. I'm really looking forward to the sequel now, which I have on pre-order. And as soon as I finished that, I thought I should start a new game. So I thought, what can I go for that will offer me complete tonal whiplash? Doom Eternal. That's what we'll do next. So I played a couple of hours of Doom Eternal, and it is very, very good. I put it off for quite a while because I remember a lot of people complaining about some of the gameplay changes they made from Doom 2016 to that, where you've got to do like specific things to manage resources during combat. A lot of people didn't like that. Like if you want armor, you've got like a shoulder mounted flamethrower, and you've got to set enemies on fire to get armor drops out of them. Or if you want ammo, you need to use your chainsaw to get ammo drops out of them. If you want health, you've got to do like the finishing move stuff that was in 2016 already. And a lot of people don't really seem to like that kind of like managing enemies in that way, but I think it really works well for the combat in the game, which is very fast paced, and you're constantly pushing forward. You're not like dipping in and out of cover or scouring the battlefield for health packs or anything. You just sort of like prioritizing what enemies to do what to at any given time, and it's really fun. And again, the music's great. Mick Gordon doing his 8-string gent metal nonsense all over it, which is fun. And yeah, it's a good time. It's got ray tracing now on Series X as well. They updated it for Series X and PS5 a little while ago. It looks great, plays great, runs like an absolute dream. That studio is now an Xbox first party, which is still kind of mad to think about. And I can't wait to see what they're going to do next. People are kind of assuming we might see their next game unveiled at whatever Microsoft's E3 replacement is, so I guess we'll see. But yeah, that's what I've been playing, what I've been watching. Not a great deal, really. I've watched the first 2 episodes of the Halo series, which I'm being a bit naughty with because it's not out over here yet.
Are
So
you saying what I think
I'm
you're saying?
certainly not saying I'm sailing the seven seas. Definitely
Oh my
not.
god.
But
Uh,
I've watched the first 2 episodes and I quite like it so far. It's
I've been
a bit
seeing
rough around the edges.
I've been seeing some negativity for the character. A lot of people say the action's quite gory, but the characterization of the Master Chief is probably the most divisive I've heard so far. I don't want to give spoilers, but yeah, it's apparently it's not the Chief that everyone knows and loves. And this is like a retelling. It doesn't follow the games. It's sort of its own little story, which I'm glad with because we played the games. I hate it when films do retreads of plot lines from games when the games do it so much better, and it's really hard to like replicate that on film.
Yeah, and
So
the
I'm
thing
glad
is,
they're
like
doing it.
the closer you stick to the source material, the more annoying it is when they do step away in certain ways. So I'm on board with them. Just kind of, it's not like completely different. Like the broad strokes are the same. Obviously, there's the UNSC, there's the Master Chief and the Spartans, there's the Covenant, there's the Forerunner, mysterious Forerunner tech, which so far nobody seems to actually know is Forerunner.
I've heard that a lot of people say what are the positives, saying that this is more close to the books than the actual game, like to the way certain characters or certain things are in the lore of the books than it is to the game. So some people say, yeah, this is quite book accurate. Like some of the books, this is like how the gun would sound, how this person will react, how the military are in the books.
Yeah, because the UNSC, you don't really see the dark side of the UNSC in the games. Like they're just basically portrayed as like heroic. In the books, the books actually focus quite a lot on the sort of darker side of the UNSC, and this has kind of gone straight in with that, to be honest, which I'm quite pleased with because you kind of need to show that kind of stuff. You're talking about the Spartans. The Spartans can't really be a focus without you kind of having to come to terms with the fact that they're kidnapped children that were taught to be soldiers and indoctrinated and basically experimented on. And you can't have that plot point without it being quite like there being a dark side to the UNSC. But they've also there's a character from the books called Admiral Parangoski, who is like the head of naval intelligence in the Halo universe. And she's fairly prominent in the books, and she's got a really antagonistic relationship with Halsey. And like right from episode 1, they've got that in there, so I was quite pleased to see that. But yeah, I mean, like some of the effects work can be a little bit inconsistent. It's a bit rough around the edges, but so far, I mean, again, I'm only 2 episodes in, but so far I'm quite enjoying it, and I'm kind of glad they're sort of moving off in their own direction to an extent. It's still very Halo, but it's not like a one-to-one retread of the book of the games, which is, like you said, and I agree, a good thing, I think. But other than that, Rising of the Shield Hero is back, so I watched the first 2 episodes of that, and so far it's okay. And that's about all I have to say about that. I loved season 1 of Shield Hero. Season 2 so far hasn't really got off to a cracking start, in my opinion. But it's only 2 episodes in. I think there's 1 more up at the moment. So hopefully it gets better. What about you? How have you been? What have you been playing and watching and doing? I know you went to a gig yesterday. If you want to regale us with some stories about that.
A little bit overly familiar, Mr. Ross. How dare you ask such personal questions?
As if we don't know each other outside of this podcast.
No, this is purely business. Yeah, man, I'll be good. I haven't been as unfortunate as you, like catching colds and COVID and stuff. I've been quite lucky so far. So that's that to be pleased with. Yeah, just normally just working and then on my free time streaming and making videos. Our video input for our YouTube channel has been quite low recently. I recently put up a quick look of Otage because that's backwards compatible on Series X. I did a video for that. I've forgotten how janky the controls are on the OG Xbox. But yeah, it's fun, man. Like back in the day, like if you played that, the graphics on that are really good. I was looking at it. I don't know if it's been enhanced or anything. I don't think it has, but it looks
just the resolution.
Yeah, it just looks really good. I was like, wow, imagine playing this when you got your OG Xbox, because you forget, like, this is a game from software, and they actually made 2 games that were the Turkey 1 and 2 were exclusive to the OG Xbox. So
I think they made 3 exclusive games for the OG Xbox. The 2 Otogi games, and then I'm pretty sure Metal Wolf Chaos was Xbox exclusive as well.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the thing. Like, in the rumors that people were saying that Sony going to buy from software, and yeah, a lot of people just want Sony to buy a big publisher. There's just rumors flying around. I'm like, and I know we've discussed this. These things just don't happen, and I don't think From Software need to sell as well. I think they're quite happy being independent. It's like Kojima's productions. People are like, oh yeah, Kojima should be bought. And I remember there was a piece of artwork on Twitter that had their game, the Death Stranding, included in the PlayStation
Studios banner,
and everyone's like, "Oh, they're going to buy them," and Kojima had to come out and go, "No, that's not happening. We're always going to remain independent." Because I think because he wants to be his own boss, he doesn't want to be like
he was with Konami.
Yeah, he's happy to he's a boss and be creative and happy to work for any company. So wants to make an exclusive game for Xbox or PlayStation, he's more than happy to do that. But I think he's more happy just to have his options open. So I don't think he's want to be tied down to one particular console. So it was good for him, man, because like there's rumors saying that Kojima is going to probably make a game for Xbox, which I could see happening. A lot of people go, no, you shouldn't do that, but I think it's going to happen. Well, went off on a tangent then. Yeah, I've been streaming. I'm nearly finished Mass Effect 3. I streamed more of that last night on our Twitch channel. I done the DLC, which I never played before, the Leviathan DLC, which is it's okay. It's all right. Done that, did Omega DLC, but I did that quite early in the game. And I also, where have I think I finished Fessia. So that's quite near the end of the game.
So you're about to get a really email from Kyling then.
Oh, I've already got that. Yeah, it's really like edgelord. I hate Kylang. He's such a shit.
Everyone hates Kyling.
He's such a shit,
awful character.
Such a shit antagonist. He's supposed to be the anti-Shepherd, isn't it? Supposed to have a rivalry with him. It never comes across that. He comes across as like a big edgelord.
In the books, he came across as like quite a threatening character in the books. So when they announced he was in the game, I was like, oh cool, Kyling's in the game. Oh, he sucks.
Yeah,
he really sucks in the game.
Really sucky. So I think you got the Horizon, and then after that you got the Assault on the Cerberus base. So I've got another DLC. You know the Shore Leave one. You know the big one that they released as a sort of swan song to the Citadel one.
That's the only DLC for ME3 that I haven't played. I need to get through to that at some point.
Yeah. So I'm leaving that to before I do the Assault on the Cerberus base, because then I have all the characters there. So they're pretty much all my characters, apart from the one who died, will appear in it. So I'm doing that. I'm looking forward to playing that. I might stream that tonight, or I might be doing Dragon Age Origins, which I started. I started one of Knights of the Royal Republic, but I kind of was like, when I got through it, I was like, you know what? I kind of feel like playing.
You were like, I've played this 12 times.
I played it so much, and I'm just kind of like, oh, I don't know if I can get hype. But then I thought, I haven't played Origins for like a decade. I was like, I kind of want to play that. And I just got in the mood after playing Dragon Age 2. I was like, I kind of want to play that, get into it. And you can just tell straight away how different the mechanics are from 1 to 2. It's so much different. You know, like everything just feels different.
It's very D&D.
Yeah, and if it's slow, like Dragon Age 2 was very action-packed. They wanted to be the Mass Effect 2 sort of thing.
Press A to awesome. I'm sure everyone remembers that.
It's that. So, but I think Origins is a better game than 2. It's just like I have to get in that mindset again of like, okay, this is a natural RPG D&D sort of, and the combat is very sort of it's like a World of Warcraft sort of thing. It's like a very like attack, and it's like a slow attack, and it's like, oh, I've missed the fast paced action of 2. But yeah, I'm doing that. and I've been watching. What have I watched? Not a great deal as well as yourself. I've catched up on Attack on Titan Part 2, which now there's going to be a Part 3, which is coming in next year. It's just like, oh god,
It's never ending.
It's just like, I wish they would just tell us that they were doing this in like multiple parts instead of like teasing us.
Like when Part 1, because it wasn't called Part 1 at that time, it was just called Attack on Titan Final Season. And it got like 4 or 5 episodes from the end, because they said it'll be whatever it was, 16 episodes, I think. And it got about 4 or 5 away, and I was like, there's no way they can wrap all this up in time. And then it just ended on a cliffhanger, and then they were like, coming soon, Part 2. I was like, oh, fuck off. They did the exact same thing with Part 2.
They did. Everyone on Twitter, there were people like, oh, they're going to be like an hour or a feature length episode, or there's going to be a movie after this. And I was like, no, they're going to do another part. People are like, no, they're not. And then, of course, it's going to be another like 16 episodes.
There were rumors they were going to finish it with a movie, so in that sense, I am glad that it's a Part 3, because I'd rather that than just like wrap everything up in like a 90-minute film. But I wish they'd just been upfront like 2 years ago. But yeah, it's the final season, but it's going to be in 3 parts, because then you wouldn't be sitting there every week going, how the hell is this going to wrap up? And then have them like go like 1 week later go, oh yeah, there's another part coming. Just tell us from the off. It's just annoying.
Yeah, I mean, I like season 4, but I still think season 3 was peak. Attack on Titan was that was like something else, man. That was like an amazing like part, because that was split, but not. They always split the seasons.
Yeah, that was just your normal like seasonal split.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the first season where there was actually barely any Titans in it. It was more like Levi's story, which I thought he made a really good protagonist. Really good. But it'd be a part 3 was also awesome as well. The bit at the end with the Beast Titan was amazing, and that was just, I don't know, that was just some amazing.
Yeah, I do think season 4 of Attack on Titan has been really good, but season 3 is just like
next level.
It's just I've said it before, but I honestly think that's probably the best single season of anime I've ever watched. It was that good for me.
Yeah, but yeah, just been doing that and streaming, and just living. Oh yeah, I went to a gig on Thursday with some friends of ours. Electric Callboy, formerly known as Eskimo Callboy, they changed their name because I wasn't aware of this, but Eskimo is apparently a derogatory term for Inuits, which I never knew. I don't think it's derogatory in terms of any racial connotations. I think because it was given to them by explorers or settlers or European settlers, and they rather be called Inuit, so they've changed.
It's like when Native Americans were called Indians. Similar kind of deal, like having a name imposed on them by other people.
So, which is fair enough. Good for Electric Callboy. And they thought that we didn't want to cause any offense to them. They changed the name. But yeah, they put on a really good show, man. And I promised myself I wasn't going to go in the mosh pit, and I ended up doing that with our mates. And I just got completely,
just tired out,
man. Like, it's a young man's game. That's a young man's game, man.
Live music is a young man's game.
Yeah, no, like when the last time I saw a band was Dying Grey, and I just said I just want to sit back and listen to the music.
We just stood right at the back. That was the same venue as well.
Yeah,
we just stood at the bar at the back and didn't get much of a show.
No,
fortunately,
terrible show. But yeah, Electric Callboy put on a hell of a show. Really good live, really good. I would recommend seeing them if you haven't. I'm no way endorsed by Electric Callboy, but I think they're really good. But yeah, that's the catch up, and that's gone on a bit. I know, because it's been like 3 weeks since we last did one. We were meant to record last week, but I think we just forgot.
Well, it's a bank holiday weekend, so it's always a bit iffy because you just kind of want to do stuff on a bank holiday, and you just kind of half forget about other stuff.
So yeah, we're going to just quickly go into the news, and the news section is not going to be that long because there's not been much happening in the news. But Mr. Rules, what has been happening in the world of video games?
Well, very little, as you alluded to, because I think we're kind of coming up to like the summer period now, and I think things are just quietening down at the moment, because obviously E3 is dead. this year again. So there's not going to be an E3, but there will be stuff like taking place of that, like Jeff Keighley's Summer Games mess.
Terrible, wasn't it? Holy shit!
Yeah. But I think everyone's keeping their powder dry for sort of what would be the traditional E3 period. So I think everything's kind of quieted down. But got a couple of kind of out of nowhere release dates from Nintendo. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is out end of July, which I'm really looking forward to. I really like the Xenoblade games. And they didn't announce it even all that long ago, and they said it was September. They gave it like just a preliminary sort of window of September, and then they just dropped a trailer, and it was like July 29th, I think it is, or something like that. And everyone was like, wait, what? It got brought forward? Games don't get brought forward. So everyone was kind of wondering why. And then like yesterday or the day before, I think, as the time of recording this, they dropped a new trailer for Splatoon 3, and that's coming out in September. I think September the 9th. I think that was supposed to be summer. So I think they've like switched the two around. So they pushed back Splatoon and brought forward Xenoblade. So I don't know, maybe Splatoon needed a bit more polish, but yeah, I've got dates for those. Both games I'm really looking forward to. Don't really use my Switch much these days, but I'll play Splatoon and I'll play Xenoblade for sure. And we also got a date for Sony's PlayStation Plus relaunch thing that we discussed. Was that the last podcast? Or was it the one before? I can't remember now.
Well, I can't remember either, to be honest.
We did discuss it briefly. It's not particularly exciting. It's basically just a merging of PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now, and they're relaunching that in June, sort of, I think towards the end of June. And other than that, I can't really remember anything else happening.
Yeah, quiet, wasn't it?
Yeah, like I spend like a lot of. I check like Reset Era every day, and Reset Era is kind of a good place to aggregate news because there's like 50,000 people that post on that forum. So literally, as soon as anything happens, there's a thread on Reset Era. So it's quite good, quite handy to use that for news. And I don't remember anything else really popping up. I think yesterday night, Infinity Ward set their they changed their like Twitter header to a very, very dark image. And apparently, if you crank up the brightness, you can see Ghost from Modern Warfare in the background. So they are basically an open secret. They're doing a sequel to Modern Warfare 2019. So I guess they're getting ready to announce that. So other than that, not really much else going on, I don't think. New WoW expansion was announced, Dragonflight, but neither of us play WoW, so it's kind of not something we're going to really talk about. I don't think either of us have ever even tried WoW. I know I haven't. I don't think you have you?
I never tried it. Yeah.
So
yeah,
that happened. That's about it, I think.
That's it, man. All right, let's wrap that up, man. I told you it was going to be short. Yeah, short and sweet. But yeah, man. So we're just going to move on to our main topic for this podcast, which is the new sort of, not Cold War, but the new wars between Xbox and PlayStation.
The new front of the console war
is turning into PC, because now I know Xbox have been doing lots of sort of, in the past they sort of had games on the PC, but now PlayStation are also bringing games onto PC. So what do you think this could mean, Mr. Roars? What does it all mean in your humble opinion?
I think it probably means good things for PC gamers, because like right now, all of Microsoft's stuff is on PC as well as console, which for someone who has both, that works out really well for me, because I can just choose where I want to play the game. If I just want to play it on console, which I can very easily move from room to room, because Series X is like this big, I can easily carry that between rooms. My desktop PC is very large, so I'm not going to do that. So yeah, I appreciate that from Microsoft, because I can just choose wherever I want to play whatever game, and a lot of them have cross save as well, which is really handy. Like I mentioned in the catch-up bit that I've been playing AI the Somnium Files, and that is Play Anywhere. So I played that on my Series X in my room when I wanted to just sit in my room and be antisocial, and then I continued my save on my laptop when I wanted to sit in the front room, which is just really handy. But Sony have been moving into the PC space very, very sort of tentatively so far. I mean, what's on Steam so far? Horizon Zero Dawn is there. I think Days Gone is on PC.
Yeah.
Death Stranding is on PC. Which is
the God of War is going to move. Is going to come out to PC apparently.
God of War is out already.
Is it?
Uncharted 4 and The Lost Legacy have got they're supposed to be coming sometime this year. So they're kind of focusing on sort of back catalogue stuff at the moment. Like, I think the newest title out of all of those is, not sure when Days Gone came out, but God of War was 2018. Days Gone might have been after that. Detroit Become Human as well. Obviously, that's that and Death Stranding aren't made by Sony first party developers, but they are IPs owned by Sony. So they've put a decent handful, but I think what people really want is day and date releases, which I don't think Sony are going to do, at least not now. But if they can move to shortening the gap a bit, that'll be good, because I want to play Horizon Forbidden West. I played Horizon Zero Dawn on PS4. I no longer have a PS4, and I'm not going to buy a PS5 anytime soon, so I can't play Forbidden West. But if they brought that out within a year of the PS5 launch, that'd be fine by me. If Sony want to have some kind of delay to sort of give their console releases some space, that's fine. There's nothing I need to immediately play day one. I can wait a year. But yeah, I think PC gamers are kind of looking like they're going to come out winning, and it feels like PC gaming is growing. I mean, you bought your first desktop recently.
Yeah, my first proper gaming desktop. I have a gaming laptop, but that wouldn't really cut mustard for what the games. I mostly bought it because the Sony well, and they're not developing Knights of the Republic, but they sort of money had the new Knights of the Republic remake. So that's coming out exclusively on PlayStation 5, but it's also coming out on PC for a timed exclusive. So that kind of pissed me off. So I was like, well, I'm not going to buy a PS5 now. And
I'm not going to reward that behavior.
Yeah, so that kind of annoyed me. So I was like, well, I'm going to get. I was talking about getting a PC for a while, but that sort of made my decision for me. I was like, well, I'm just going to get a PC, and when it comes out, I'll play it on that. So that's what I kind of bought it for. But now that Sony are sort of dipping their toe into the PC world, it's good for like PC gamers and people who don't have a PS5, because then you can play some of their games on PC, and you don't have to fork out another £500 on a new console. And a big console. It's huge, man.
So
I still can't get over how big the thing is, man.
Yeah, neither of us have one, but Dan has one, our friend. And every time we go around his flat, we see it and we're like, it's like seeing it for the first time all over again. It's just like, what?
It sticks right out, man. He's got it.
You can't walk into a room and not see it.
He's not got it. I don't think he's got it standing up. He's got it laying on its side, but it's still, it's like, wow, that's a big beefy boy there, man. So yeah, I'm like, me personally, I'm kind of like happy that some games are coming out on PC. I mean, like, not all the games I want to play are coming out on PC. I'm not really bothered about some of their first party games, but like a few of them I'm looking forward to playing. Like, obviously, like Knights of the Republic, even though I've got to make that state that this is clear, it's not a first party exclusive, it's a timed exclusive, and they're still doing that a lot this year. So they're buying IPs for timed exclusivity, which is, it's frustrating.
Big games as well.
Yeah, I mean, they've done it to a few games, man. I think there's a few more coming out. Forsaken is supposed to be timed, I think. And a lot of people think it's actually a full exclusive. It's not. And Final Fantasy for the
16,
sorry.
There's been so many of them.
It's hard to keep up, man. But that's also a timed exclusive. Knights of the Republic remake, timed exclusive.
They tried to get Starfield, and Microsoft went, "Okay, we'll buy Bethesda."
Just buy the bloody studio, the developer, publisher. Sorry. So yeah, I mean, it's a good time, and I like it. I do like the Xbox. You know, I got a Series X. And it's a good for people who can't afford to buy like a real, because PCs are expensive, man. Yeah, they're like, you're looking at least over $1,000 for a decent one that runs the games at a reasonable at a reasonable what's the word I'm looking for? Reasonable standard, yeah, basically. You want a half decent one. I mean, you could buy a cheaper one, but your PC will struggle with certain games, especially if how you want to play. If you like the high-end graphics, if the lower-end PC is going to struggle with that. Your frames will drop. Your PC will just crash. It's just games are hard to run.
Set itself on fire.
Yeah. So like
yours was you spent like 900 on a pre-built, didn't you?
Yeah, pre-built one.
Because we were talking for like a year. You were saying you might try building one, and I was like, yeah, okay. Like, I think I said to you, talk to Dom, another friend of ours, like get him to give you like a decent component list because he knows more than I do, and then like I'll come around and talk you through building it. You can build it yourself, and I'll just kind of talk you through it, and we could make a video out of it. And then the PC component market went mental, and it's still bad. I've wanted to buy a new GPU for a while, and it's just not going to happen. I'm not spending 1,200 quid on a 3080. So yeah, that just kind of put paid to that idea, and then Dom linked you that pre-built, which is a pretty good PC for 900 quid. And so now here you are, PC gamer Paulus, and it does feel like a lot more people are kind of getting into PC gaming over the last year or two, and then you've got stuff like the Steam Deck from Valve, which is kind of trying to lower the barrier of entry to a degree, I guess, make it more sort of consoleized, and like good hardware for the money you're giving them for it. But obviously, they expect to recoup that by you buying all your software through them. But yeah, it feels like I follow the Steam Deck discussion on like Reset Era and forums and stuff because I'm interested in it. I actually just got my pre-order email through on Thursday and paid for mine, so hopefully within the next few days mine will turn up. So I'm very interested in it. It seems like it's going to be like my first gaming PC for a lot of people, which is exciting, but also slightly terrifying because there's a lot of it runs on Linux, so not everything is compatible, and you've got some hoops to jump through and stuff. So it might be frustrating for someone that is just coming straight from console. But I admire the attempt from Valve to try and kind of broaden the PC base. And like I say, it feels like more people are getting into it, and it feels like Microsoft and Sony are both responding to that. And Sony are at least putting their stuff on Steam at the moment. Microsoft are now doing that as well. They've been doing that for the last year, maybe, I think. Maybe about a year. Because obviously before they were like, no, we've got our Windows Store. Everyone loves the Windows Store. Where you can put stuff there? And then games were selling like 2 copies. So they've embraced Steam. PlayStation is on Steam. But it makes me wonder, because I remember a thread on Eurogamer, someone was like, now Sony are like focusing more on PC. Do you think they should make their own launcher? And they had a poll up, and it was like 90% saying no. And I was like, well, why? Yeah, nobody needs another launcher.
You don't need one, man. Like Steam, good and bad thing. I mean, they've got the monopoly on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a proper monopoly, not like the monopoly people talk about that they think Microsoft will have by buying Activision. Spoiler, they won't. Well, that kind of monopoly. Steam is an actual effective monopoly.
I mean, you do have good old games that's there, but they're nowhere as big. And I think you can integrate your good old games with your Steam account now. So
yeah, you can have pretty much anything to Steam as a non-Steam game.
It's just like, oh, okay, it's pretty much Steam they're like the Amazon, man. They're just eating the competition. They're just like a monopoly on everything, on digital stuff.
Well, like Bethesda had their own launcher. They're winding that down now, and any
Epic.
games you own on Steam, on a Bethesda launcher, sorry, you're
Yeah.
getting like an entitlement to it on Steam.
EA did. EA moved all this pretty much all their games onto Steam. They had their own
Yeah,
launcher as well, but
Origin. Yeah.
Origin that's just dead now. And they still got EA plays, but do you know
I
what I
think you can
mean?
get EA Play through Steam now as well,
Yeah,
actually.
I mean that's on Xbox now as well, part of Game
Yeah.
Pass. So yeah, I mean it's basically a Steam.
Ubisoft next.
It's just like absorbing everything, man. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
Epic is going everything, man. Just
I
might
mean,
as well.
it's very handy for like, if
Oh
you're a
yeah.
Steam gamer.
Mm.
As weird as that sounds to say, rather than a PC gamer. But if you use Steam and you're happy with Steam and most of your stuff is there, it's
Mm.
handy that everything is there. And the sales are still pretty good. They're not as good as they used to be, but they're still good. But yeah, there is a lot of backlash to other launchers. Some for legitimate reasons, like Epic launched without a ton of features and it's still missing a ton of features. They didn't even have a shopping cart when it launched. I think they didn't have a shopping cart for like 2 years or something. And then they started, before they had any of these features live, they were money hatting games for long exclusivity stuff. Like Final Fantasy VII Remake is still exclusive to Epic on PC. So I think Epic went about it in a way that very specifically riled people up. But it is, kind of don't envy them, because you're launching a new launcher against Steam. You're extremely unlikely to survive, as we're seeing now with everyone else just going up, just winding down our stores now, I guess. But yeah, it is. They are a monopoly, and there is reasons to be wary of that, even if it is extremely convenient for most of us. But yeah, I don't think PlayStation need their own launcher. That'd just be silly. They don't really have enough games to populate it. Even if they put everything on there, I mean, what would they have? Like 5 or 6 games to launch it with? What would be the point? Just stick with Steam. Obviously, you can see the point for Sony. They won't have to give Valve a 30% cut of everything, but there's no real benefit there for the consumer, in my opinion. And that was kind of borne out by the replies in that thread, with everyone saying, "Fuck no, why would I want that?"
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I bring it up because obviously, like, the topic is PC the new front in the console war, and obviously Microsoft do still have the Windows Store, and if you want to use Game Pass on PC, that's the only place you're going to get it. And I do use the Windows Store because I have Game Pass Ultimate, and I'm not gonna just go and rebuy every game on Steam. And honestly, for me, it's fine. Like, it's missing stuff that Steam has, but it's stuff I don't really use. I don't play multiplayer games on it, so that's not a concern. But yeah, obviously Microsoft still have the Windows Store, and it feels like, I do wonder if they're using Steam in the interim to kind of prop up their production until they can actually get the Windows Store to a point where people are more happy to use it. And then I do wonder if they'll pull everything off of Steam. I don't think they should, but they obviously want to control their software and not give anyone else any licensing, like they're giving Valve 30% of every sale. And I just wondered if Sony would look at that and go, well, we should try that as well. And then we've got like PlayStation on PC where we fully control it, and Microsoft's got Xbox on PC where they fully control it. And then it's basically, again, sort of war of the ecosystems. But I don't know. PC is open, and I think it needs to stay as open as possible.
Yeah, it is definitely the new battleground, isn't it? In a weird way, which you never thought it would be, but it is. They sort of like, it's like not Cold War, but it's like a war
staring at each other across the streets of Steam,
and just sort of using PC or Steam as a proxy to their battle. Do you know what I mean? Like you said, like Xbox have had sort of a head start on Sony with PC games because they've had some of them on before, have been on PC, and now all their games are on Steam for this generation. And the Game Pass and buying all these acquisitions, there's a point to it. Like you said, I think, yeah, they could be building up their their own store, the Windows Store. They have it on for now. Everything on Steam. And once they start building up more and they've got the Game Pass Ultimate, it could actually say, well, now from now on, all the games are coming out exclusively on PC on our Windows Store. It could happen, man. I don't think it's a good move for a consumer. I don't think they can really beat Steam when it comes to this, because Steam's just like the bygone word for like PC gaming now. Like gone are the days where you used to buy PC games on discs and stuff. I mean, most PCs don't even have disc drives anymore. So the physical games for PC are pretty much dead in the water, man. Like it's a shame because like I was never into PC gaming, but I did admire the box art and stuff for them that came out. I mean, like back in the day when they had
big box.
Oh yeah,
PC
when they used to come out in floppy disks as well, like they used to, like 10 floppy disks. I was a bit too young for that era, but I do remember like the floppy disks and stuff like that. And some, and then obviously they come out on CD-ROMs and stuff like that. But now I don't think they do that anymore. I don't think they do at all. It's all digital now.
I think I only have one physical PC game that I still have, which is the Unreal Anthology, which was Unreal 1 and 2, and I think one of the tournament games was on it as well. But I had a okay PC in like the mid-90s. Well, my dad had a PC. And I had like the big box versions of like Duke Nukem 3D and Quake and stuff like that. I wish I'd kept hold of them, because they were like big cardboard boxes. But they were cool. You see like Metal Jesus when he does his like videos about his big box gaming collection. It's like, I had some of those. I should have kept them.
Yeah, he's a big. He used to work for
Sierra.
Yeah. So he was really into. I'm not sure what he did there. Maybe QA.
Yeah, I think he was in QA.
Yeah. So yeah. I'm just going to go off on topics at the moment. We're talking about Metal Jesus. I think there's some slight backlash against Metal Jesus at the precise moment. I've been reading some Reddit subreddits about him, about some of his. Not like he's done nothing like scuzzball to like people, but to like people. Some of his audience or ex-audience think he's a bit of a Billy bullshitter.
Really?
There's been some things about like I remember. I think I spoke to you once about it, about him and his mate. They wanted to go on tour around the US in their van, but they wanted you to pay for it. So everyone's
I vaguely remember that. Yeah.
Everyone's like, you're setting up this GoFundMe or this Patreon where we have to we pay
subsidize your fun.
Yeah, we pay you to come and visit us in these places, and then we have to pay you to come and visit, and you could drive around in your van. And they were just like, yeah. And then I remember that there was I don't know how true this is, but he had that leak in his house, and it cost him quite a lot of money. I mean, a lot of people were saying, I think he's bullshitting there, because this damage doesn't cost as much as he said, and they think that the GoFundMe, he took a large percentage of that profit. I don't know how much is true. I don't know anything about building and stuff like that. From what he was saying, the water damage was quite bad, but there's people who know these things, and apparently the experts or they got some knowledge about it, said no, the price he was quoting was just outrageous. He's either a person who quoted that is taking the piss, or Jesus is trying to make more money. But that's just what I've heard, man. But I used to really like Metal Jesus, but some of the things I've been reading, I was just like, I look back and I go, maybe they got a point, but you never know, man. You know, he seems like a nice guy, and good for it. Like, he's doing well for himself, so I can't really blame him. But some of the stories, I don't really want to get into anymore. But yeah, it makes you question it. It's just like, hindsight is a good thing. But like the last PC game I bought was actually not the Old Republic. It came in a disc, and I got the box and everything. And I used to play it on my parents' old PC when you used to have a disc drive in there. But now this PC doesn't have one, so I can't play it on there. So I might just have to re-download the game on Steam. But I think it's pretty cheap. I think it's on Steam, because I know it's Yeah, it was on Origin. Pretty sure it is. If not, I'll just get it off of the EA server. But yeah, man, like I think I don't know. Would you say like consoles are going to be obsolete? This might be the last generation. Is Pete because if both PlayStation, that's what I think a lot of Sony fans are worried about. So I know our friend who is a big Sony fan is quite worried about like having the PC all their Sony games coming out onto PC because then the argument that Sony fans used to say is like, well, why would I buy an Xbox? I can just play it on PC. Now it's going to come it's going to be like the same for them as well. It's like it's like me. I said, why do I need a PlayStation 5 when I can just get it on play it on PC?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always going to be a market for dedicated games hardware.
It's expensive though, man. Like making consoles
it is. But then you control the whole market basically. Like, especially with the way digital is growing. Digital is more than 50% of every software sale these days. Like you look at like the charts that come out when new games release, and it's usually digital sales are usually 50% or more of the sales for that game, and that is if that's a first party game, that's pure profit for the platform holder. And then obviously, like every third party game that's sold on the system, Sony or Microsoft or Nintendo take 30% of that sale as well. So they're big money makers. The hardware isn't really the money maker. It's kind of like an enabler in a sense. It's all about like the 30% royalty on all software, and basically controlling the market. That's why they're both trying to drive towards digital as well. They've both got digital only consoles this gen. They want to push digital uptake as much as possible because then there's no retailer cut, there's no logistics, there's no shipping involved in any of those sales, and it just goes straight through their stores. So that's where all the money is. It's often the case that hardware is sold at a loss and they expect to recoup it through software. So I think there'll always be a place for dedicated hardware. I mean, you look at last gen, PS4 sold like 120 million consoles, I think, and Xbox One, which is people widely assume it to be some disaster, was somewhere in the region of 55 to 60 million consoles. Like, yeah, it's a dip from the 80 million 360s sold, but it's not exactly a Wii U style disaster, is it? People talk like they sold 10 million, and yeah, that's like 180 million, nearly 200 million consoles sold last gen. I don't think that's going away anytime soon.
I also think like if you're if you're like a parent or something like that, even though like Xbox and PlayStation are fairly expensive, like £400-500, you look at that and go, I'll buy that for my kid. Or if you get a Series S, which is selling really well for like £300, you think I can get that for them, because they're not going to think I'm going to get a PC, because a PC that not people don't know much about PCs. Like the average parent's not going to walk into a PC world and go, what do I buy here? They you know what I mean? They know, well, console's just straightforward. Buy it, plug it in, play it. PC, it's like you got all the specs and everything like that. You get all these questions. It's a bit more of a longer setup and everything. But for Xbox or like PlayStation, that's like I said, that's why I think that it's sold so well, because it is quite small as well, and it's really powerful, and it's easy to take away, and like, and some people are taking on trips with them as well. So I think like there is a place for them. I think for new like young gamers, like families, friends, and stuff like that. Because I mean, there is a space for it still. Yeah.
I mean, the value proposition, like if you don't want to spend a lot of money, buy a Series S and a Game Pass subscription, and you're absolutely laughing. Like that's like for under 400 quid, you've got like a next gen console and a year's worth of games constantly launching into the service. But yeah, like the Series S and the PS5 are kind of broadly in the same ballpark as my PC, and I built that PC in end of 2019, so 2.5 years ago, and it cost me £1,500. And then like 1 year later, I bought a Series X for a third of that. That's broadly equivalent in power. It's just that's why they can sell these things for these costs, because obviously economies of scale. Obviously, they're ordering tons of components, like millions of components at the same time, which is going to bring the cost down anyway. But also, they're selling them at a loss because they know they'll recoup it through software sales. Whereas, PC doesn't really have that. There's no PC platform holder as such. People spending money on Steam doesn't do anything for Asus or Gigabyte or anything. But I think there's always going to be room for console, because like what you partly alluded to there is just it's a lot simpler for a lot of people. A lot of people just don't want to think about it, and that's completely fine. I still mainly play on console because it's just much more straightforward. I just walk into my room, I turn my TV on, I turn my Xbox on, it turns my TV on for me, pick up my controller, and I'm playing a game. And obviously, you can kind of approximate that with things like Steam Big Picture, but it's not as seamless. It's not as fast to get into a game and stuff. And I think there'll always be room for it. And I think Sony and Microsoft are pushing into PC just because they see it. I think if either of them thought it was a risk to their core businesses, then they'd stay the hell away from it. They wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot barge pole. I think they both realize. I think Microsoft realizes this a lot more than Sony. I think Sony's just starting to kind of come around to the idea that it's like an additive thing. It's like, okay, we've got our console base. The majority of people that are playing on PC aren't going to come over, so let's meet them where they are. Because PC gamers are, by and large, PC gamers. They're happy enough playing on PC. They want to tinker with settings and stuff. Maybe they want to play something like Star Citizen, which you're never going to get on a console, or like grand strategy games and that, which don't really work very well on console. So if you take your product to them and say, all right, we're going to meet you where you are, then ultimately you're going to get more sales. I mean, you look at Forza Horizon 5, which launched on console and PC at the same time, and also was the first Forza Horizon game to launch into Steam on day one. Forza Horizon 4, I think, came quite late. That had like 20 million players in like a week or 2 weeks or something, which took Forza Horizon 4 like a year to hit, I think. So you kind of just amplifying your own sales really by just tapping into a market that you otherwise wouldn't have reached. And there will be, as you say, edge cases of people that are like, well, I was going to buy a PS5, but now I don't need to if all their games are coming to PC. And yeah, I'm going to be that person. I was at the beginning of this gen, I was like, I'm buying a Series X. I'll probably get a PS5 somewhere down the line. And now I'm like, no, I'm not buying a PS5. I can wait. If their games come a year later, that's fine by me. I'm quite happy to be patient. Like if Forbidden West comes out next year, that's fine. And so what I want from Sony really is just for them to release their stuff on PC in more of a timely fashion. So you're not waiting like 3-4 years or whatever it is. Like I think God of War was like nearly 4 years from PS4 to PC, but obviously they hadn't started their PC initiative at that point. So yeah, I'll be one of those edge cases that's like, I'm not buying a PS5 now, screw that. I've got a PC and that'll do me. But I think the majority of people are going to either be on one or the other, or both at the same time, which is, where you and me are now. Both got a decent PC and a Series X, and just kind of moving between the two. What do you think? Do you see it any differently, or?
I see a lot of the only thing I can see, like I do see Sony moving more into PC gaming, like I said, but I think the fans, they're going to be a bit annoyed because they always pride themselves on being, if you want to play a Sony game, you got to play a PlayStation, and that was always the thing they used to use against Xbox fans. Well, your games are on on PC, so what do I need to buy an Xbox for? I could just play more there. That's all you always used to hear that, but now it's becoming the other way. Now it's slowly, and you can hear the whispers about some people. I don't want it to come out on PC.
Oh yeah, there was loads. Yeah. There was loads of it. I remember on Reset Era when God of War was announced for PC, a lot of people completely lost their shit and ended up getting banned from the forum because they just went completely over the top and were calling it betrayal and stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, some Xbox fans did that when Xbox started doing it as well. I remember when Quantum Break was announced for PC. I think that was like the first big Xbox exclusive that they were like, oh, we're launching on PC at the same time, and some people acted the same way towards that. Well, what did I buy an Xbox for then? So it just gives you more choice, you know. If you want a console, you buy an Xbox. If you want a PC, you buy a PC. If you want both, you get both. Just gives you more options. But yeah, like Microsoft kind of went through that half a decade ago. Sony are going to be going through that now. People adjust, I think. It will just mean there's less fanboy fuel, because I think that's mainly what that is when people say, oh, why would I buy an Xbox when I can just get a PC, when they have no intention of buying a PC. They're just using it as fuel in their console wars. So I think the main outcome would just be there's less shit getting flung about, maybe. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, and all this time, Nintendo are just in the background going, we'll just do our own thing.
Nintendo are like, so what was that?
Huh? Say what? What's going
PC?
on?
What's a PC?
It's a PC. I don't know. We'll release Pokemon again. and the graphics will be just absolute shit, but it's okay because it's Pokemon and people are having fun.
We slag off Nintendo quite a bit, don't we?
I love.
We both. I mean, we're both buy Nintendo games and stuff. There's my Switch games there. Look, I mean, 3DS games up there.
First console was the NES. I've always loved Nintendo, but I think they always say this. People just let Nintendo get away with so much just because it's Nintendo, and oh god, you can't say anything wrong about Nintendo, even though some of their business practices are not ideal for the consumer, if you know what I mean. They stuck in the 80s, in the 90s with their way of thinking. But they're innovative with their console designs, but the way that they treat the way they treat their product is very archaic. But people are, it's their IP. They can do whatever they want. I'm still happy. I'm like,
they're very conservative.
Yeah, but this is if it was Sony or PlayStation or Xbox, you'll be up in arms about what's the things you allow Nintendo to get away with. That's what just annoys me about Nintendo fans. And it's like it's always the people from our generation as well who grew up on Nintendo. It seems to let them get away with it. It's the nostalgia thing, man. It's just like Nintendo can't do any wrong, even though it's like with their Pokemon game, people going, yeah, the graphics are shit. It's like it is. People guys, it doesn't look the best.
That Arceus game looks so bad.
Yeah, I looked at it, I was like, man, that looks like a PlayStation 2 game, man. And it looks so shitty. And like it's just like, oh, they can't afford voice actors, and the lip syncing's out, and some of the frames drop, and I was just like, because I've watched some streams of it, because I haven't played an Xbox Pokemon game since the originals came out on Game Boy. But I just looked at it, this is kind of pooey, man. But the main thing is you're having fun, you know.
The amount of money they make though from Pokemon, they really should be doing better than that. That's one of the biggest media properties in the world. Spend some money on the friggin' visuals.
It's not like it's like a Last of Us where they're hyper realistic, stylized. Hyper realistic people. It's stylized. So it's not that hard. It's like
at least make it look like a PS3 Tales of game or something.
You know, that make it look like it's been made like 20 years ago. Well, yeah.
I'll tell you what. In tying into the main topic, I would really appreciate Nintendo games on PC, because the Switch is so fucking weak now.
Yeah, it's creaking at the seams. I mean, when it got released, it wasn't that powerful. So,
well, yeah, I mean, Xenoblade 2 came out within the first year of it, and it was awful in handheld mode. And this is what I'm kind of worrying about now, because Xenoblade 3 is coming in 2 months. It's one of my most anticipated games, but I'm kind of dreading playing it handheld on the Switch, because the Xenoblade 2 on the Switch in handheld mode could get as low as 368p at times. Like it looked awful, really like one of the worst
Yeah,
looking games I've ever seen in the last
yeah.
10 years. And I'm worried that
What's
Xenoblade
it?
3 is going to be the same.
What's the max resolution? Is it 720 on?
720 on handheld, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, remember when the Wii came out? That was like 480, wasn't it?
Mm.
It was like fucking awful. And yeah, but Nintendo never really been like one for the state of the art cinematic sort of games and the visuals and stuff. They're very
Yeah.
niche in their own sort
I
of.
mean, I'm not asking for 4K 60 FPS, but like if the game could at least hit 720p on the damn 720p screen, that would be nice.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just,
yeah.
yeah.
That's a thing. Like, that's another. But I don't think Nintendo will ever release anything on. Or they on PC. They would want
Nah.
so much control. If they had anything on Steam, they'll be like, it'll be 80/20, 80% profit
You
for
can have
Nintendo,
2%.
and 20 and
That's us
Steam
being generous.
Steam will be like, nah. And you know what I mean? They can't like it's just
Gaben would be going to his knife collection.
oh yes. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I would very much. Even if Nintendo wanted to do their own damn launcher on PC, I'd accept it because these games are they look so bad on the Switch now, and it just makes me not want to play them. I don't care about 30 FPS versus 60. I do on like a big screen. On a handheld, I don't really care that much. For some reason, it just doesn't bother me as much on a smaller screen. But at least hit the friggin' resolution of the screen you made. Like 368p in like 2017. Come on,
talking of
that's like approaching 3DS resolution.
talking about Xbox and PlayStation, there's a thing we missed out on the news, but I think it's quite relevant to what we're talking about. That they're going to start running ads. There's talk about running ads on their free-to-play games, which
Yeah,
people are not happy about. Xbox,
with good reason.
yeah, PlayStation we're talking about it. Now Xbox will talk about it. So I think this is going to be a case of who blinks first, who's going to do it first, and then they're going to see how their reaction is. Then they'll be like, no, 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 we're not going to do that. Kind of like how the release of the Xbox One and PS4 went down.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I'm not. Yeah, it's kind of like I'm like, wow, you're gonna have ads pop up when you're playing the game. So I'll be playing like I don't know, like a game and like a 10-second ad will just pop up, and I'll be like,
watch 3 ads to regenerate your energy, like a
it'll be
mobile game or something.
yeah, it's be like wow. It's like it's annoying on YouTube, but I get it because that's ad revenue. That's how they make their money.
Yeah, but YouTube's been getting so much worse since they launched YouTube Premium. It's so bad now.
Have you seen like some they're cheeky. They put like about 2 or 3 ads on back to back, non-skippable ones, and sometimes they put full on music videos, and sometimes there was a fucking documentary on there. I remember,
Yeah.
wow, what the hell? This is like what? Is this like nearly 20 minutes? What the hell?
Oh, I've seen longer than that. I've seen one that was an hour and a half.
Wow, Jesus Christ.
It's like this isn't an advert. This is a full length frigging documentary you've put on the advert reel. But yeah, they're getting a bit out of hand. But yeah, it was the ad platform thing. Glad you remembered that because I completely forgot about it. But it came out first about Xbox was looking into it, and then everyone went nuts. And then like 2 or 3 days later, the exact same story came out with PlayStation were looking into exact same thing. And I remember people on Reset Era were like, yeah, make sure you keep the same energy.
Yeah.
But yeah, from what I sort of briefly read into it, because I don't really play free-to-play games, to be honest. I suppose Halo Infinite is free-to-play now. That's the only one I do play. I know you've played quite a lot of Apex. I've only really dabbled in that. But from what I could tell, it was more sort of like if there were billboards in the game or whatever, then they'll put real brands on it or something. But I do think it has a lot of scope to be abused and have like I don't know if you've ever actually played any mobile games. I've played a handful and I always get sick of them after like 20 minutes because of all this stuff. But a lot of the time you'll have like energy, and every time you do something in a game, it expends energy. And it's like either watch some ads to regain some energy, or come back tomorrow to continue playing, or spend money on gems to restore your energy, and all this awful, awful shit. Like these aren't games; they're just designed to make money. And free-to-play games already have a mechanism to make money.
Microtransactions.
Battle passes and microtransactions.
Yeah.
And that was like this in both the stories. It were like Sony/Microsoft is looking into this to give free-to-play developers a way to monetize their free-to-play games. I'm like, they already have that. Like Fortnite is free-to-play, and it's like the biggest game in the world. It makes stupid amounts of money. Like, did you see the story where they gave all profit to a I can't even think of the word, a charity that was giving money to Ukraine. And I think it was like for a week or 2 weeks, they gave all the profit from microtransactions, and then Microsoft joined them and said, "Yeah, all our fees from microtransactions can go into that as well." And they made something like $60 million or something, which, yeah, very good on them for giving that to the fund for Ukraine. But that just tells you how much money these games are making. Like, obviously, not everything is Fortnite, but these games already have the ones that are successful are stupidly successful. They make more money than full price games. So why do they now need to stick adverts in them as well?
I don't know if you ever watched like American sports.
A few times.
Sure. Like, have you noticed how many ads they have?
Ad break like every 5 minutes.
Even when the game's playing, they put ads on there. They minimize the screen for the game, and the ads will pop up around the side. They put like in a little window, picture-in-picture bot, and I'll just be like, I remember watching when I was like, how many
buy
ads
Totino's pizza rolls now?
How many ads? And they stop the play, and an ad will pop up. Like I say, when the game's playing, the ads they'll minimize the screen, and then ad will pop up. I'm just like, what the hell? And these ads just flash across the screen and stuff like that at the top. It says, "This is sponsored by." I'm like, holy shit, man! This is like, if that would happen in Europe or here in England, imagine if you're watching a football game and just ads just started just appearing all the time.
And cut back to the game and it's 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, like, there are ads in football stadiums on the billboards and stuff. That's fair enough. I get that. But it's not interrupting the flow of the game. But in American sports, just like, whoa, there's just obscene amounts of ads on there. I'm like, why doesn't anyone say anything? But that's just, I guess that's how they make their money. I guess Americans are just used to it, man. So, or us, I try to watch like an NFL game, and I was just like, wow. I mean, like, there was so much breaks in play. I was like, wow, this is kind of slow. And then, like, I was just like, there's a lot of ads on there, man. I think I've watched more ads than I have the actual game. So I was just like, yeah, I don't think I can get into this, but there you are. Maybe that will happen with games. You're right in the middle of a boss battle and it'll just minimize it. Just like, what the fuck? Advertising like a sports drink
like
or like
see the tiny screen.
Oh yeah, and like an ad would just like appear and like they're advertising like the Tesla or something like that. Wow, how the fuck am I going to afford a Tesla? Why don't we get ads
in the middle of the final boss of Elden Ring? Buy Mountain Dew now.
I'm just like, oh God's sake! And they just stop the gameplay, and it's just like, what the hell? Just an ad will appear. But yeah, and then that's a possibility, man. Like these days, like you're looking at anything to make as much profit as you can. And ads are a good way to make more money.
Well, like I say, it is rife for abuse with doing stuff like that, like popping up full adverts when you're in the middle of a game or something. Excuse me. Excuse me. Like, if it's just like the game happens to have billboards in it, and then it's like they change the billboard out from like a fake ad that the game developer made for like Coca-Cola or something, I don't really care about that. Like, games have had product placement before. Like Alan Wake had Verizon and Energizer product placement in it, but it wasn't like popping up ads like every 20 minutes to try and sell you a phone or batteries. It was just like you used a flashlight in Alan Wake, and the batteries that you put into it were Energizer batteries. And then like the phone you had was a Verizon phone, and just it was stuff like that. It's easily ignorable. It kind of, in a sense, you can say it's kind of insidious because it's corporations intruding on your kind of free time, I guess. But then you bought the game from a corporation anyway. But it kind of also kind of lends it maybe a hint of kind of believability because they're real world brands and it doesn't kind of feel out of place. Stuff like that I don't care about, honestly. It's like the camping gear in Final Fantasy 15 was Coleman, I think is the name of the brand. A real world brand, and they had I think they had a Vivienne Westwood dress in it and stuff like that. Stuff like that, I don't really give a shit. But if they're interrupting the game to feed you full screen ads, then yeah. But again, I don't really play free to play games, so it's not really too much of a concern. But other than that, I think it's kind of gross if that's the route they go. Interesting to see how it evolves, I guess.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that's about it. I think we've gone through every aspect of this topic. Anything else?
Even went into a bit of Metal Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, I had to bring it up, man. This is we could just go on tangents and stuff like that, but it ties
we
in
frequently
quite well.
do. It's fine.
Yeah, it's just yeah, I do like the guy, but some of these past his past acts. I don't know if he's been naive, but he's a smart guy, so he probably knew what he's doing. He's not stupid, man. You don't become successful on YouTube by being a complete idiot.
I don't know.
There's always methods between madness and stupidity, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, it's just.
I think our key takeaways are Sony should shorten the gap between their releases on PlayStation and PC, and Nintendo should launch on PC.
That'll be
so that I don't have to play their games in terrible resolutions anymore.
You could just play it on your fucking phone as well if you wanted to. Their games, play it on your. That's
the thing. My phone
tablets.
is probably more powerful than my Switch.
Yeah, that's the thing. Isn't it?
Well, not probably. It definitely is.
Yeah, my phone. Yeah, our phones are definitely more powerful, man. But yeah, man. What we got coming up for the channel, man? What's the deal? Well, we've been a bit sparse with our content at the moment.
I have. I've been laid out sick for a number of weeks, so
I've just been plain lazy. We've recorded some Resident Evil. There's one more video that was just supposed to go up on the Friday last, but I was out actually, and I was hungover. I went out the night before to Electric Callboy, then I went out again on Friday yesterday, and completely forgot. But that will be going up this week.
Yeah, life happens.
Do you know, but we've been having such fun with Resident Evil 5 that I just,
I just don't want it to end.
Don't want it to end, man. But yeah, have we got
it to end?
Have you got anything coming up apart from this podcast?
I mean, I'm going to get back to editing my Lone Echo Let's Play, which I think there's 3 parts up so far, and I think I've probably got enough footage recorded for one more before I need to actually get back to playing it. But VR has been out of the question for the last few weeks with how I've been feeling. So hopefully by next weekend I'll be well enough to actually stick a screen to my face and play some more of that and get some more out. But I think I should have enough for one more video, so I'll probably stick that up this week. I'm also going to do a quick look or a exploring Game Pass video for Lost in Random, which recently came to Game Pass.
Have we already done one for that?
No, it only came to Game Pass a week or so ago.
Lost in Random. Oh, we haven't, have we? That's an EA game as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's coming to Game Pass via EA Play.
I do. I know that. I
think it's like a Tim Burton-ish kind of 3D platformer. I don't really know much about it. I kind of want to have a look at it and see what it's about. So I might record that tomorrow and stick it up in the week.
Yeah.
And then, just see what else pops into Game Pass, I guess, and do some videos on it.
Game Pass is hard carrying our channel at the moment.
Exploring like 90% Game Pass content. We should just rename ourselves to a Game Pass with Chums.
Chums, yeah. pure Xbox. We used to do other consoles, but we haven't done that in a while. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't really do any Switch stuff because Nintendo would probably claim it.
Another thing that pisses me off about Nintendo.
And neither of us have a current PlayStation, so
yeah.
So it's really only going to be PC or Xbox at this point.
Yeah.
And, obviously my Lone Echo stuff is PC. But just see what comes into Game Pass, I guess. There's always stuff launching into it. They do drops twice a week, so see what comes in. Now I'm starting to feel, I mean, I've got a shitty cold at the moment, but I feel a lot better than I did when I had COVID, that's for sure. So now I'm starting to feel a bit better, start actually getting back into producing some content, because it's been a while.
Yes. I will. We got some cons coming back up, so expect more videos for that. MCM. Probably do. I intend to do every time we go to a con. I'll buy a mystery bag, and so expect.
Get on that YouTube mystery bag meta.
I quite enjoyed it. I thought it was quite good, and the stuff we got out of there wasn't as bad as I thought. And yeah, why not? So that got MCM, we got Hyper Japan. Everything. And the other one, am I forgetting? There was Eurogamer, but that got cancelled, and that's also in Birmingham. I'm not sure. I think that's about. Oh, and the LAGC, London Anime and Gaming Con. There'll be another one in August, so we'll be going to that as well. Which at the new venue. If you're not checked out our video, check that out. It's at a new swanky venue in Hammersmith in West London.
Much better.
Much better. Much better. Very busy. It's growing, man. I'm looking forward to it. I'm hopefully. It'll get more sort of not mainstream, but more sort of investment in terms of like the anime, like companies that will sort of have
sponsor
it and have their own stores there. Mm-hmm. So like manga and Crunchyroll and all the anime and.
Because it still feels very grassroots, but it's definitely bigger than it was.
Yeah, it's very. I can sort of see people liking it because it is sort of like not indie, but it's like the sellers are sort of they're the independent sellers and stuff like that. So if you have bigger companies come, then maybe they'll get pushed out a bit more, and you know. These people make their money from these cons. Maybe that's what they're trying to focus on more. But it would be good if there were like bigger companies that would sponsor it and represent and have a presence there, because it'd be good. Because like I said it before, like London being a city as big as it is and well known worldwide, we don't actually have our own anime focused con. Like in America you have them, obviously in Japan and in Europe you have quite a few as well, but in UK a big one, we don't have one. MCM, but that's more general
geekdom.
We've got a lot of Western stuff there, but something that's just purely focused on Japanese, like
Japanese
culture.
Anime.
Yeah, it'd be good. I mean, that's what we're hoping for, and it's going in the right directions. It's moved from its humble beginnings in the Metropolitan University in London, North London, to a big swanky new venue in Hammersmith. So who knows, man? Maybe it'll get bigger. I hope so.
Yeah, hope so.
Yeah, and if you guys want us to appear on LAGC, let us know. DM us, man. We'll be there, man. Tanked up.
Live podcast recording, which pick a random topic.
Tanked up.
Just ignore the audience and just do our podcast as normal.
Just throw bottles of whiskey at them and stuff like that.
Ignore the audience of one person that sat down to watch us.
Well, there's always people sitting there because they want to sit there because just the rest
of sit down.
Yeah, that's what we do. We don't actually listen to the people go up there. Not, apart from the cosplay talent show, because there's some. It's good to go. And we've had a lady comment on there who does actually do the hosting of that. It's like, oh, it's nice that you guys record that all the time. We're like, yeah. And I think we've got to be less cynical when we do it, because people are watching it go, did you not like my performance?
I know. That was that there was a comment in the video for the recent one. It's just part of it is just playing up for the camera, really.
Yeah, it's just pure. Just trying to make
kind
it.
Of
we're not being like
grumpy old man kind of.
Yeah,
playing up.
I think I did. One of us responded to that and just said, "No, it's just us being like grumpy old men and being just trying to make. We're not like that. It takes guts to get up there and show and get in front of people and do what you got to do. I respect that. I wouldn't do that because it's just I wouldn't do it just purely because I'm a grumpy old man. But we don't mean to have a joke.
Yeah, we're not here to denigrate anyone or make fun of anyone or anything. It's just literally just playing up for the camera.
Yeah. I mean, like these kids go up there and they build these costumes, have fun. This is their day. They wouldn't have fun. I get it, man. Good for them. And we don't want to discourage them and seem like we're like taking the piss. We're not.
But we should probably tone it down a bit because
I'm thinking
people have commented a couple of times and we're like,
Yeah, we're not meant, don't want to come across that way, but we will tone it down and we will be more positive. But that could come across as being like sarcastic or belittling. It just so. But anyway,
that just comes with the territory of being British, though. If you sound positive, people are like, no, they're being sarcastic.
Yeah.
British people aren't positive.
No,
they're taking the piss.
We just like to take the piss. But yeah, that was today's episode, and thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and please check out our YouTube channel, Game with Chums, Twitter, Game with Chums. Basically, it's all Game with Chums. I'll put the links in the description of this video, and make sure to check out our Spotify version, and it's also available on Amazon Audio and other Spotify platform, podcast platforms. But yeah, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and we'll see you again next time. Bye.